We've got Mr. Rajan Wadhera also with us, president of SIAM. Let's go across to him. Rajan, good morning. Auto companies' share of the wallet, so to say, is now almost 20% below the 15-year average. In your view, the underlying factors, do you see them as more cyclical or structural?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on your panel today morning. I think the issues are turning out to be a little more structured because in the last 2.5 years, there are many things that have happened which are quite permanent in nature. One big thing being the cost increase that has happened in all segments of the auto industry, where quite a few of the regulatory changes, whether it is on account of emission, safety, and other things like insurance premium for 5 years and road tax registration increase have led to almost 30 to 40% of the price increase in the automotive in various segments. And this has definitely led to customers thinking about buying the personal segment vehicles. And in the commercial vehicle segment, the axle loading norms which came and automatically increased 25% capacity in the medium and heavy commercial vehicle segment is something which is here to stay, because about 25% capacity got added, and a growth of 25% is typically achieved over 2 to 3 years. And with the GDP growth coming down, one has seen that these are very structured things that have happened to the industry, and unless we get back to growths of the level of 8%, we are going to have problems. The other thing was the finance availability and affordability, which is also not something which is just cyclical. We have seen the NBFC, the way there was a holdback and the money flow was not very good. We won't call it a cyclical because it's the longest recession the auto industry is facing in almost a decade. And consequently, it's not easy. We have seen sentiments improving in some segments, largely in the PV segment. That too, only in the UV segment, while cars were down 23%. UV segment growth came on the basis of new launches and substantially good launches that were there. So UV has grown 6%, car has degrown 23%. Overall, the industry is still not seeing any growth coming.
By bringing around GST or by, what can government do? Because auto slowdown is something which is a function of what is happening to the millennial demand, and also the fact that there was a lot of auto demand which got created when interest rates were low. So, the government really cannot do anything to fix it. This is cyclical, and then it has to really come back on its own.
No, I said it is structured because you see, there has. Are you addressing to me? Sorry?
The question is for you.
Hello?
Yes, sir. The
question is for me, right? Yeah. Okay. So, what I'm saying is it's a structured degrowth that we are in. And in the past also, government has supported in 2009 and 2014 when there was a degrowth. Government did come up with tax rebates which saw the growth coming back. And in now also, we have proposed to the government that with the introduction of BS6, where there is going to be 8 to 10% price increase, this kind of price increase is very huge and also is going to result into higher GST collections. So why not reduce GST so that, for the government, the GST collections are neutral, whereas the prices don't go that high, and hence we do not have an issue of demand falling. That is why the rationale for GST reduction has been put forward to the government.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so, Mr. Wadhera, recently we've had industry heads saying that over-regulation is killing the industry. There's little hope from the budget. RC Bhargava saying that we need long-term planning to tackle the slowdown. what are you expecting in terms of booster shots, if anything at all?
Well, in our discussions recently with the finance minister and also in the convention, hello?
Just go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Wadhera.
Yeah. So what we have requested the government is to quickly come up with this scrappage policy, because it really helps both the industry as well as the climate change that we really looking forward to in terms of reducing the emission norms and also addressing the energy security issue of the country, whereby the crude consumption can go down if the vehicles that fall from, let's say, we've been talking of 1995 till 2005, the vehicles that are there are really polluting, and if there is a proper scrappage policy which is incentivized both by the government as well as the manufacturers, we should come up with that policy quickly so that that gives a boost to the industry. That is one request that we have made. And the other point that I mentioned to you was on the GST reduction, because GST reduction will definitely help, particularly very much from 1st April onwards, because the BS6 vehicles are going to be expensive. And the third thing is obviously in the hands of the government, whereby the GDP growth, which is again possible due to increasing consumption, putting more money in the hands of the people. Those are the kind of things that will help to revive the demand and possibly see growth for the auto industry.
Getting into the scrappage policy in a bit of detail, firstly, how will an incentive-based one help? And from what we understand, we need a 15x jump in annual scrappage capacity. So is that even realistic in the near term, at all? And we're also hearing that the government would, possibly provide incentives or penalize the use of old vehicles as well. So, what do you actually see them implementing? And again, what's the kind of timeline with which we could actually see an impact of some of these measures?
Well, I think the scrappage handling has been already announced. There are policies and there are schemes, there are SOPs, conditions that have been laid out. Some of us have already set up scrappage centers. So I believe that has been parallelly started. Now it's a question of coming together and announcing a scrappage of a kind where, let's say, for example, maybe a 50% off on GST, road tax, insurance, and other kind of taxations which is there post acquiring the vehicle. All those things will have to be looked in, and we as an industry have given us suggestions how we can contribute to this. So somebody has to put it together, and there has been discussions going on this, but it is getting delayed for I don't know what reasons.
Okay, we're running out of time, but just on the demand side, we're watching out to see if we do see any changes to the income tax slabs. Availability of finance, of course, continues to be a big sore point as well. So again, just when it comes to boosting demand, and I know I'm probing you here for more possible incentives we could hear from the budget, Mr. Wadhera, but anything that you feel would be a huge help?
Well, I think for increasing the demand, if you put more money in the hands of the people, obviously demand will come back in some sectors, not in all the sectors. Automotive sector has two very major, constituents. One is the personal segment, other is the commercial segment. And commercial segment mirrors the economic growth. If the GDP growth rate is good and it is accelerated, then definitely the commercial vehicle sides will see growth coming in. And on the personal vehicle side, the growth will come in if we put more money in the hands of the people. And as we are all hearing that income tax slabs will get corrected, and there is a likelihood that at the entry level there would be change in the slab. So we are really looking forward to that happening, so that on the PV sides there is growth coming because of this, and on the commercial vehicle side I think it is largely the GDP led growth. So we are hopeful that Finance Minister will look into giving more money to people by reducing the income tax rates.
All right, Mr. Wadhera, thank you so much for joining us this morning.